This is the SuperSport Schools Podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur Steak Ranchers.
1, 2, 3, go!
Hello and welcome to a brand new season, a brand new year, and a new episode of the SuperSport Schools Podcast brought to you by Spur. We have the reigning champion of the All-Star Quiz.
What can I say?
What a way to end the year last year.
Sensational, I have to say. No one saw it coming. I didn't see it coming. I just got really lucky on a few questions and really niche knowledge to help me for once. So, what can I say?
Well, you knew questions. I mean, you stole a rugby one from Robbie very early on.
Okay, but that one was easy. I don't know why Robbie didn't get that one.
I know. I mean, you knew all the facts about the cards. You've been spending too much time around me.
Way too much.
You knew the cricket one about the West Indies.
Oh,
not about the West
yes.
Indies, about Canada and USA.
Yes.
Chummy said West Indies to lose 500 points. So yeah, it was a good round, good way to end of the year. Yeah. And you're the reigning All-Star Quiz champion, which means big things we're expecting from you in the quiz later.
Of course. Oh, actually, that's a bit too much pressure.
Have you been watching the sport over the break?
Of course. What do you think I do about spare?
Okay. So we'll be hopefully holding fingers that you're going to do well in the quiz later. But listen, it's a new season.
Yep.
Slightly new format. So first of all, what we're going to do is talk about what's been happening in the week of school sport. Not much yet because we're just starting out the new season. Then we'll play the more or less game, which I'm quite excited for because it's the first time you're going to be challenging me to some sort of game.
Yeah, no, when you told me about this, I made sure to go to the niche parts.
Okay.
It won't be that bad, I promise.
Okay, we'll see. Well, we'll explain that later on when we get to it. But just to start off, over the past couple of weeks, sort of the last thing that happens in the year, Kai Majola Cricket Week. It happened here at Rondebosch.
Yeah.
We're at the Whole Boys Union at Rondebosch Boys High School today. We're home.
Yes, we are.
We're home. They had Kai Majola Week out on the cricket field just out there. Western Province won. And then there was Peninsula Cricket Week to start off the year. And this is something I want to talk about. It's quite interesting. We have this little trophy in front of us. And this is something I didn't know. We've both spent time at St. Stithians in Sandton, in Joburg.
Very pretty school.
It is. It's huge, that campus. We get winded walking just from one side to the other, mainly because of the altitude as well. But they played Rondebosch. So Rondebosch and St. Stithians played each other in that Peninsula Cricket Week. And they play for this trophy since 2023, I think, and it's called the Wally Mears Trophy. Now, Wally Mears, Mr. Mears, was headmaster at Rondebosch from 1930 to 1951. We have the Mears Centre here. And then
good basketball played in there.
Yes. So you're familiar with the Mears Centre.
That's home to me.
Yeah. Then from 1953 to 1961, he was the founding headmaster of St. Stithians. So we have this sort of brotherly connection with St. Stithians, and when we play cricket against them, we compete for this trophy. It's here because we won by 56 runs.
It's good to see the boys represent.
So there's a bit of info. And you mentioned that St. Stithians is very pretty.
Very pretty.
We have lots of trees. They have lots of trees.
Many trees.
He was a big influence in that.
You could tell there's a real tree motif going on there.
I'm not complaining because it's beautiful.
It is wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, so there's some info to start off. I didn't know that. I don't think you knew that.
Definitely didn't.
So we caught up, yeah. But now let's look ahead into the season. What's the school sport you're looking forward to?
Look, basketball always looks good this year. Every year, basketball's looking good. I think that's a personal one on my radar.
Inanda Hoops, although that's later on in the year, but
St. John's.
St. John's, yeah.
Exciting one. And then obviously our fan favorite, so our personal favorites, hockey.
Yes.
Have to go up to St. Mary's.
St. Mary's, yes.
Good festival. Really hope we can go up to watch that again.
Easter just can't come quick enough.
It really couldn't. Obviously rugby still.
Craven Week, seeing what's going to happen there.
And then I'm excited to see how, the smaller sports do. Surprised to see what esports will do this year.
Yes, because that was the first time we've had it on SuperSport Schools was last year.
So I'm excited to see how that space grows. And then, a little bit of squash there. You're a bit of a pro at that, aren't you?
I play. There's a difference. I play. I think for one episode, we're going to have to play match.
No, definitely.
And see how that goes. Also athletics, seeing if some more records get broken.
Yes. Oh, after watching the Kira Hazeldean squad last year,
they've set the bar extremely high.
And after talking to the head of Kiro, there's definitely something in the water there that makes athletes. So we can definitely see something big coming out of there.
Okay, but the most immediate one then, St. Mary's Festival coming up in the first school break. I mean, I know school has just started for everybody, but we're already looking forward to St. Mary's. But yeah, there. Okay, cool. Things to look forward to. We've caught up briefly on what's happened over the past couple of weeks. As we get deeper into the season, we'll catch people up on things that have happened in the week because, as we know, school sport just takes off.
Yeah.
It's now time for the more or less game.
Sure thing.
And if you've seen it before on the show, it's usually just me asking our guest a question such as, is an athletics track more or less than 300 meters long? And then they say more, but the questions are harder than that. The idea is that we don't really know the exact answer. We've each got 4 questions for the other.
Yes, we do.
Do you want to ask me first or should I ask you first?
You know what? As the founder of the game, I think you should, set the scene for the space.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you first.
Yeah.
All right. So this has got to do with the Schools SA20.
All right.
The new format of the competition. It's the first time it's the Schools SA20, including boys and schools teams. It's massive. It's all going to come to a head at Tux in March. My question for you though is: are there more or fewer than 600 teams in the Schools SA20?
This is a fact I should know because I've been told this fact. 600 teams. But I know there are a lot of preliminary rounds.
Yes.
And there are a lot of schools in this country. So I'm going to go with more.
I've been very sneaky. It's fewer.
What, by like 50?
By 3. 597.
Okay, all right.
I mean, you've warned me that the questions that are coming from me are ones about sports I don't really watch, so...
Now I don't even think my questions are that hard.
Well, let's see.
You know what?
Now I've got nothing to lose on that first one.
Let me be polite to you.
Okay.
Well, let's start light. Let's keep on the school sports motif.
Okay.
Love that word now. Motif. Good word, that. October 2024, we saw that Kira Hazeldean squad smash that record. So I have to ask you, was their time faster or slower than 40 seconds?
Oh. So
is it 40, 41, 42, 43?
Is it more or is it fast or slow? So if it's fast, it's below that. If it's
Yeah.
slow, it's obviously more than that. Okay, yeah. The thing is, I wrote about it in the class of 24. Like, I wrote the script that it was read in. And for our podcast where we spoke about it, and I can't remember exactly what the time is. I seem to remember a 30-something, so I'm going to say it was faster.
That's correct.
39.
39.92. So I was trying to catch on the technicality.
Flip. Okay. Very close.
Okay, so
But that's 1-0, so I'll take that.
Okay, all right.
Right, question 2. Talking about class of 24, were there more or fewer than 300 athletes mentioned during SuperSport Schools class of 24? Those 4 episodes that aired over December.
More or less than 300.
Yeah.
Does Alex White know 300 names?
Well, it's not whether I know, it's whether SuperSport Schools can put together. I'm going to stop helping you. Actually, I'm going to look this way. Give it away with my expression.
I'm going to go fewer.
More.
How?
342. We named 342 athletes over 4 shows.
Gee, okay, you know what? That does
4
make
hours.
sense.
Yeah. And it was almost double class of 23, the number of athletes we named. Still top 30 athletes right at the end, but in the process of getting there, we named 342.
See, now that's where my mind was. It was
Yes.
just that list.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So it stays 1-0.
Okay, we need to move to general sports. I need to start catching you in
Yeah.
places. So, as a team that I mentioned a lot, the mighty Arsenal,
The Gunners.
have 14 8 FA Cup titles. The mighty Manchester United, as some of our guests seem to like, do they have fewer or more than my mighty Arsenal?
Well, I think because you're talking about Arsenal and you're such a big Arsenal fan, like the Gunners, I only know the Gunners are the Gunners because of you. I'm going to say that you wouldn't put that question in if they had more, so they probably have fewer.
Thank you, Alex. They do have fewer. That one was personal.
Okay, but I get a point.
Yes, you do get a point. Yes, they have 13 FA Cups, and if they do win
wow.
it this season, we are tied.
Okay.
And they did just knock us out. So
All right.
this is very time-based.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm glad you sacrificed a point for it being personal, but that's 2-0. I spoke about the school's SA20. Talk about the SA20 now. Are there more or fewer than 8 teams in the SA20?
Oh, gosh. No, they're fewer.
Yep, that's
Okay.
correct. There's
That-
6.
Yeah, I was going to say, not every province has representation.
Cape Town, or my Cape Town, Paul Royals, Pretoria Capitals, Joburg Super Kings, Durban Super Giants, and Sunrisers Eastern Cape.
See, now, if I was going to remember all those names, we would have been here for a bit longer. I do love it. Not great with names.
Okay, but that gets you a point. 1-2.
Okay.
If I don't get this, then we could potentially tie.
Yeah. So,
But I will get this, so I'll win.
okay, then let's go into your department. Should go into my department.
Okay. Basketball.
Yes.
Oh, jeepers.
So in early 2023, widely acclaimed GOAT, LeBron James,
I've heard of him.
Yes, you have. Beat Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's points record in his career.
Okay.
To beat that record, was Kareem's previous record more or less than 30,000 points?
For me, this is literally a 50-50.
Yeah, because you have no idea.
This
the
is literally a
scale.
50-50. I have absolutely no idea. More.
Gosh, darn, you are correct. It was 38,000.
Wow, so it's quite a lot more.
Yeah.
And compared to the next person, is that a big jump?
So LeBron's on 40-something right now.
Yeah.
And then it's Kareem.
At
and
38?
then I think it's like 34 after that.
Okay, so it is quite a big.
It is quite a big jump.
And you think 38,000 points. I mean, that is extraordinary.
It is extraordinary, but
How many games that takes? I know you can have scores that are in the hundreds,
yeah.
but still.
And personal, I mean, nobody really scores more than, a crazy night is 50 points. And so the high scoring games, it is crazy.
Wow.
The crazier fact is LeBron is still active
Yeah.
with 40,000 points. So if he keeps going, this record may be untouchable. That's how I like to think about it.
Wow. Okay, so 3-2, 3-1, 3-1. Whoa,
3-1.
I'm just giving you
Oh,
a
you
point.
give me two.
No,
You give me
3-1,
two.
3-1. Last one for you
This one's just for pride.
to win some back. Yep. Are under 18 girls' hurdles higher or lower than 75 centimeters?
What is 75 cents like this high?
Yeah. I think that's actually a pretty good.
Pretty good estimate. I think I'm about the height of an average teenage girl. I'm not the smallest. I think they would be underplaying my ability if they set it there. They have to set it to a meter. So I'm gonna say that their hurdles are higher.
They are higher. They're not a meter, but they are higher, so you are correct. 76.2.
Oh, so you're really running on technicality?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's
6.2.
30 inches.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I was thinking, who's the person measuring it out?
No.
76 point. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
In
exactly.
inches, it does make more sense.
Yeah, so Tumi Ramagopa, who we've had on the podcast before, brilliant hurdler. She jumps over 76.2. Jumps, hurdles. Yeah. Last one for me.
Last one for you. This one is in your. You can take a clean sweep here, Alex.
I can. Oh, there's
can,
pressure
you
because I've
can.
won 3-2, but the clean sweep. Okay.
And this one is again in your realm. So, what do you say the greatest rugby player of all time is?
Of all time.
In your mind?
Of all time.
In my mind, I have one.
We could do a whole show.
We could, but 30 seconds on the clock. Somebody has a gun to your head. And you need to
No.
give a fairly decent argument for it. Because I know who my pick is.
Of all time. Of all. Peter Steph Toy.
Okay. You can make a good argument. I was going to go a bit further
Just
back.
because in World Cup finals, unbelievable player of the year twice. Twice? Yeah, twice. So that's why I would say him, but you're putting me under pressure. So
Yeah, see, mine also has that World Cup pedigree. I went with Dan Carter.
Ooh, it's going to be something to do with his points or something, Dan Carter. Yeah.
I'm glad in you're tasting what I'm putting out.
Yeah.
Does Dan Carter, the amazing rugby player that he is, have more or less than 1,400 test points?
Ooh, and this is for a clean sweep. That's a lot. And he's probably close to the most, although maybe somebody who's scored 70 tries is more. That Japanese guy's the leading test try scorer. But that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is if it's more or fewer than 1,400. Just because he's so amazing, I'm going to say more.
I don't like what this game has done to me. I'm happy it helps my argument, but yes, he has 1,500
Clean sweep.
and 68 points.
Wow.
98 points.
Okay, well, maybe then he is the goat.
Yeah.
But, okay. Clean sweep. I'm happy. And 2 for you. So
Yeah, 2
your
for
first time doing it, so you'll come back stronger.
Yeah,
Give me-
and next time I come, I know the energy you're putting out. So if you let me ask again, you'll love the question.
I think on that note, it's a good time to take a break. When we come back, we'll introduce you to our first interview of the year.
Bringing you the sport you care about the most, this is the SuperSport Schools Podcast.
Are you ready?
Yes, Dad.
Happy birthday. Cheese.
Oh, gentle words, hold me again. And I'm holding on to memories still to come. I'm holding on.
It's more than a meal.
You ready, Nana?
It's living with a taste for life.
Bringing you the sport you care about the most, this is the SuperSport Schools Podcast.
Welcome back to the SuperSport Schools Podcast. It's our first episode of 2025. We've been having a lot of fun talking about all sorts of things that have happened over the past couple of weeks, playing the more or less game. Something that is underway at the moment, though, is the SA20, and a player who has made his debut after making his debut for the T20, ODI, and Test Protea sides is Kwenema Parker.
He's been sensational. I'm not gonna lie, he has been sensational.
Doesn't make you feel a little bit like he's 18?
Yeah,
And what have we done?
I mean, we're here,
Yeah. But
but
we don't have a couple test wickets to our name.
I remember what was it, Pakistan?
His test debut.
That first wicket he took.
And then the whole team rushes to him. It was awesome.
I got into cricket because of you guys, and I said I would never watch Test cricket, never put it on. And then I saw who was on the team. I was like, okay, maybe put it on. What can I miss by having it on? And I saw that wicket.
You watched his first
gobsmacked.
test wicket. And I was in the stadium to watch his first test wicket, and just everyone rushing to him. It was incredible. A couple of years ago, in season 1 already, we're old. Jeepers. In season 1, I chatted to Kwena at St. Stithians, and this was in his grade 11 year. Here's what he had to say about his future prospects.
Bringing you the sport you care about the most, this is the SuperSport Schools Podcast.
Where did it start? Why cricket? We're going to talk about all of that because it's incredible, but I want to know why it started, why you chose cricket as your sport, and how you've become so good at it.
So, my family's actually been cricket lovers for like a long, long time. I think my parents were introduced to cricket, I don't know, about 1990, somewhere around there. And my older brother started playing cricket probably when he was like 5 years old. So I grew up in a cricketing family. I always played garden cricket with and against my brother. So it's kind of just been something that I've grown up with.
And as you grew up, was there any particular part of it that you enjoyed the most in terms of fielding, bowling, batting? I mean, obviously now we see you bowling, but back then?
I'd say back then I loved batting, especially because it was like a great challenge against my brother, because he used to bowl, pace, spin, everything. He used to throw everything at me. So it used to be a great challenge, and bowling was a little bit easy against him. Yeah.
And do you think you've made a conscious switch towards bowling, still kind of all-rounder? What's your thoughts on that?
I'd say currently I'm an aspiring all-rounder. I've slacked a bit with the bat, but yeah, it's just one of those things.
Definitely haven't been slacking with the bowling, that's for sure. So I think also what people don't realize, we're going to go into your kind of South Africa endeavors, but you still are here where we are recording today at St. Stithians. You play for St. Stithians. You also play club cricket, so there's a lot of cricket. But But since Scythians, you were saying you've been here since grade 8. Earlier, you were telling me, what's it like being at a school like this that is rich in cricket history, that often is ranked in the top 3 in the country in various platforms in terms of first 11 cricket? How do you think being at a school like this has helped you on your journey?
Yeah, I think if you look at it, our director of cricket, he's amazing. And all the coaches, in a rich cricketing school, you're always going to have good coaching. You're always going to have good players around you. It's a great cricketing environment, and it's an amazing place to grow yourself as a cricketer.
And when did you first realize or think that maybe you can actually take cricket as far as it is possible to go? When did that first enter your mind? Is that something you've always believed, or has it been kind of a dream and then slowly the dream started to become reality?
So the way I see it, it's always kind of been something in the back of my mind. It's always like it's always been there. But it's kind of just like you kind of get to a point. I think that point for me was under 13 at my second national week, where you kind of see yourself and you're like, wow, I can actually do this, I think that was really the point.
When you can see at national week that you can compete amongst the best in the country. And I know a lot of the time in different sports in South Africa, our national weeks at under 13 level or even under 16 level look very different in terms of who's there and who's not to the under 19, under 18 levels. It can change quite a lot. But obviously you've just gone from strength to strength, which a lot of people kind of either fall out or they go into different sports. It can all change because under 13 often is very early to decide what sport you're into. You were saying earlier that cricket, from an early age, you were involved in that. Any other sports along the way?
Yeah, so I'm actually a tennis player and a hockey player. I used to do athletics. But tennis, I also played provincially, and hockey, I've also played provincially. So it was kind of just a battle of which sport is going to take preference.
We're getting into the summer season now properly. It's term 4 coming for schools. What does a day in the life of Kwena Mapaka in terms of training, school, cricket, how do you fit it all in?
Yeah, so I'd say on a regular day, it's probably wake up at 5 and then either go for a run or do a home gym session. Then obviously get ready for school, go to school. In the afternoon, most probably a cricket training session or a cricket match. And then it's go home, study, do all your work, prefect stuff, all of that. Yeah.
Prefect as well. Yeah. So, okay. So you're doing everything basically. And it sounds like you've got a plan and I assume you stick quite regularly. Well, it's quite structured, which is good. Otherwise, I don't know how you'd be able to manage it. But now let's talk about the first time you represented South Africa at any level. Or was that under 19? Yeah, for the under 19 squad. I mean, I just have to check because there's so many that you've been involved in. Off to the World Cup as well with that under 19 squad. What is it like the first time you pull on any jersey that's got a bit of green, a bit of yellow, a bit of gold, has the Protea on it, even if it says under 19? It still looks very similar to the jersey that I know you're definitely aspiring to, but in any sport, it's a very special thing to wear the jersey of South Africa at any level. So what's it like when you bring it on, put it on for the first time? I'm getting so excited I can't even talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's a very special moment. It's one of those things that you want to relive in your memory forever and ever. So the first time I put my jersey on, I was on a call with my mom. So I put the jersey on in front of her and she went absolutely ballistic and I was just like grinning from ear to ear. I think I was probably in it for 2 hours before I took it off and I was like, okay, let's get to bed and, let's get ready.
Yeah, I mean, that's very special. We've asked players before from different sports about what you've just described, and it's always something similar about how special it is to put it on. And then also when you get to sing the anthem for the first time, all of that obviously is so special. But something else is that when you play for your country, there's, I think, sometimes added pressure and responsibility than when you're just playing for your school or your club or even your province. Is that something that you noticed? Because also you come together with guys from schools across the country, might not be people that you're just used to from school or from Gauteng, club cricket, etc. It's now people from all over.
I think there's definitely an added pressure. A But I think that's just the way sport goes. The higher you go, the more pressure that there is. And it's kind of something that I've taken a while to get accustomed to. But now that I am accustomed to it, it doesn't really hinder my performance the way that it used to.
Once you get used to it, then you're able to handle it. No, it makes sense. Good. And then let's talk a little bit about the World Cup, because that must be an amazing thing to be a part of. You go on tour with everybody. You're playing in it. It was in the West Indies. It was in the West Indies, and a couple of the countries there that it was hosted in. Like, I think you guys were in Jamaica and Guyana, and
We were in Guyana, Antigua, St. Vincent, Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, those are the few.
oh, that's amazing. You get to travel and experience new places while playing cricket against international opposition, the best of the best from around the world. What are your highlights from that experience?
Highlights was definitely, I would say, just arriving at this stadium for the first time. You have all the cameras on you, and you kind of you feel like, wow, I'm actually here. I'm here to play. I'm here to do the job. And then I would say another highlight was the double wicket against Sri Lanka. It was just amazing, one of those things that you hope to live through and you hope to see again and again and again in your career.
I think we all want to see that again and again and again in your career for South Africa. I was going to bring up that double wicket. So that your first international wicket at under 19 level, and then your second very soon after. What goes through your mind when you do it? When you take a wicket on the international level, is it any different to when you take a wicket at school? Do you realize I've just got a wicket playing for my country, or is it more just you achieved what you were trying to achieve in the moment?
I think in the moment, it's kind of just like, I'm going to get this guy out. I got this guy out, It's just one of those things where you see a batsman in front of you and your initial instinct is, let me take him out. Yeah. But I think once you look at it after the game and once you look at it like a few months later, then you're like, wow, actually, that's like really special, one of those things.
Bringing you the sport you care about the most, this is the SuperSport Schools Podcast.
All that we have left to do on our first episode of the SuperSport Schools Podcast is play the quiz. Tim, you won our all-star quiz at the end of last year, so I'm expecting big things.
Look, I got to the quiz by technicality, and I won by the grace of God. So,
Are you ready to play? That's the question.
Alex, when have I ever said I was ready to play?
Okay, well, your time starts now. What does the A in UEFA stand for?
Association.
Correct. Tumi Ramakgopa is one of South Africa's top athletes in which discipline?
Hurdles?
Correct. Which team won the recent Kaya Majola Cricket Week final? Western Province or Central Gauteng? Yeah, correct. Which who captains Paul Royals in the SA20?
Pass.
David Miller. In rugby, what position is a wing forward better known as?
Flank?
Correct. How long in meters is an athletics track?
400.
Correct. What is it called when a player shoots one under par on a hole in golf?
Eagle.
Yeah, it's a birdie. Which team secured a back-to-back under-18 girls water polo IPT title in December? Western Province or Central Gauteng?
Central Gauteng.
Correct. What is the name of SuperSport Schools' new magazine show focusing on school cricket?
Cricket mag?
Cricket on 216. Which of these cricket stadiums is newest? Newland, Centurion or Boerland Park?
Boerland.
That's correct. And time is up. You've got 7. What a way to start the year and set the bar.
I shocked myself. No, wing forward?
Wing forward. I mean, have you ever heard it called that?
No, but in my head, I was just like, wing on the edges, forward,
Yeah.
flank.
Literally.
Okay.
Exactly.
I had to big brain that one. You know what? First quiz of the year.
Brilliant.
I think that's a great start. That puts me nicely on the leaderboard.
No one got more than 8 last year, so 7's great.
Hey, okay.
I think you're going to be on the leaderboard for a while.
you can see my face there.
Yeah. Well, there we go. First episode of the SuperSport Schools Podcast done and dusted. We'll see you next time. But for now, bye-bye.
This has been the SuperSport Schools Podcast, bringing you stories of our future stars, powered by Spur Steak Ranchers.